welcome to MeowMix, the Carolina Panthers podcast. My name is Steven.
My name is Jerry, aka Slightly Floating Head on YouTube.
Yes, the disembodied head of Jerry. Check it out on YouTube if you're just an audio listener, just to see Jerry's head floating. He's wearing a green shirt in front of a green screen, breaking rule number one of video podcasting, but that's okay.
Yeah,
that's
and not
that's
only
why I
that,
don't even worry about a green
I'm
screen.
breaking a few rules too. My wife Sylvia is working behind me on her swag for her work. So
Yeah.
that's good.
Well, that's all right. I'm going to stay professional today, so at least one of us is going to make the quota.
I think I've lost that many drinks ago.
All right. Well, today we're going to talk. We're going to preview the final preseason game a little later on, but there are a few pieces of news that we want to talk about first, and we want to do a little bit of listener feedback again because that was fun last time.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do listener feedback probably after the preseason week 3. And again, our preseason previews are not the strongest because, well, I mean, it's preseason, guys.
They are appropriate. They are appropriate for preseason.
We take as much stock in them as the NFL teams do.
Yeah. Maybe not as much as some Twitter Panthers fans,
No.
but we take the appropriate amount of stock.
I took 2 out of 5 worried whiskers. So, I mean, last week. By the way, we're sticking with that. If you try to change it, no, it's not.
No,
happening.
The whisker scale. I love the whisker scale. Yeah, we'll keep on that. Well, let's start off with some transactional news here, Jerry.
Yeah, a big one. The Carolina Panthers signed cornerback Troy Hill to a 1-year deal. I love this signing. Former starter for the Rams. I mean, he knows this coaching staff, the defensive edge. I can't speak. Evero. So, and we've been saying this since the draft and free agency that they needed depth there. I mean, J.C. Horn and Dante Jackson are good, but I mean, C.J. Henderson is such a roller coaster of ability.
Yeah.
No one behind him has shown anything, and he's good. He's a good slot corner, and he's a good potential starter.
Yeah, he's very solid. I was kind of looking at his advanced stats earlier, comparing them to other players that we have on the roster, like Dante Jackson, C.J. Henderson. He blows C.J. Henderson out of the water in terms of production, PFF grades, reception percentage, things like that. He's very similar to Dante Jackson in terms of they have had pretty good years. His Troy Hill's best years are better than Dante Jackson's best years. Their worst years are very similar. So I think if you are looking at like what type of corner we're getting in terms of production, think a slightly better Dante Jackson. Obviously, maybe not as fast as Dante Jackson, but fast enough. And you and I were talking a little earlier. This is a guy who's got a lot of experience playing corner, and he's got a lot of experience playing in the slot.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a good, versatile guy.
Yeah, and especially because this team doesn't have a slot corner currently. Like, C.J. Henderson was probably plugged in. Jeremy Chin was labeled the slot corner. I don't think Jeremy Chin's playing time is going to get affected at all by this. I could be wrong, but I'm assuming they have a different role for him than what Troy Hill's about to play.
Yeah, it could. I mean, we were talking just from the last preseason game how so many over the corner balls were being completed from the other teams. Troy Hill played mostly slot corner in 2020, 2021. Last year he was back to mostly corner, outside corner. So wouldn't surprise me to see him be on a slot corner on this team for the majority of the time, and then also be able to step in whenever J.C. Horn or Dante Jackson gets hurt.
Yeah, and when I said that, I don't think J.C. Horn or Jeremy Chin is really going to be a slot. I think he's going to be kind of a rover of a linebacker safety kind of mix and sometimes corner.
Well, there's only 11 guys that can be on the field at one time. And I think Troy Hill is probably a better slot corner than Jeremy Chin.
I agree with that.
So in those situations, if Jeremy Chin could be the odd man out.
Yeah, if the opposing team is trailing and you know they're going to pass, I agree. I think Troy Hill will be out there before Jeremy Chin, or you have a Shaq Thompson, Jeremy Chin linebacking core or something like that.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. I could see, that's the good thing about Jeremy Chin is he can kind of slot in a lot of different places. So you want to give a guy a breather for a few plays, Jeremy Chin could probably play that spot, whatever it is.
Yeah,
So, but this is great. I mean, we talked about needing another corner for weeks and months now.
yeah, it's
And I
months.
like Troy Hill. I think this is a good signing, very solid depth signing, and a guy that can start if needed.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he had, what was it? A couple years ago, he had 3 interceptions. 2020, he had 3 interceptions, 2 touchdowns, and 119 interception yards. And he has
Hmm.
some talent there, taking them to the house and ready the skills. Did you
Yeah.
get the? Have you seen any of the contract negotiations on it, or?
No, in fact, I was looking earlier. I didn't see any numbers, but his most recent contract was 3 years, 1.5 million. So I can't imagine it's more than $500,000, something like that.
Yeah, Spot Rec doesn't have anything. I'm assuming you're right around there, like a 3 million type of 1-2 million. I
I
mean,
think
he
it's
is
1 year. I think I did see it was 1 year. So 1 year, 500,000, 750,000, something like that. I can't imagine it's even $1 million. But um, this isn't a guy who's gonna be an all pro or probably even a pro bowler, but he's very solid depth. He's a good player. He's a guy that's been in the league since 2015, and he'll probably be in the league another 5 years.
yeah, 31. I don't think 5 years, but I agree. He's a
I
solid.
mean, corners can play, especially if you can play slot corner. You can play decent amount of time in the league.
Yeah, 5 years though. I mean, for a
That's only
decent.
36.
I view him as a Captain Munderland type of player.
Mm. Captain Munnerland's still in the league. 43 years old now.
I was gonna say I almost believed you for a split second there, but then
I
when
don't know
my
how old Captain
then my
Munnerland is.
whisker worry or radar started peaking.
Yeah. Your whiskers started twitching.
Yeah.
Just for comparison, Dante Jackson's best season, the season that got him the contract extension with Carolina, was 2020, where he was a 70.4 overall grade in PFF. Troy Hill has had 3 seasons better than that. And as recent as 2020, he had a 74.2 PFF grade. So take it with a grain of salt. PFF is not perfect, but it is a good indicator of when you're trying to rank players. Yeah, Dante Jackson's best year, Troy Hill's better, and got a much worse contract out of it.
And by the way, Captain Munderland's only 35. His last year was in 2018 here with Carolina. Just saying.
What was it? Oh, Captain
2018.
Munnerlyn. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for that hard hitting journalism there, Jerry.
You're welcome. I'm on the ground, Jerry Dempster.
There is another transaction that we need to talk about here. The Panthers have moved on from formerly starting nose tackle Marquan McCall, guy that came into camp and seemed to do well enough to earn that starting job. He's gone.
Yeah, kind of shocking that he gets the week 1 start of the preseason and now he's gone. Frank Reich has already gone say that they cut him this early so he can catch on with another team, which I could see that from this
He will.
coaching staff that they've already kind of like, okay, I think Rashawn Williams is probably going to start. We like this other guy. He's probably on the cutting block. Let's let him go. Let's see if he can catch on with a team that fits him better. I mean, he's a 4-3 lineman.
Yeah.
I mean,
Tackle. Yeah. I mean, personally, if I'm the coaching staff, and I don't know, they needed to make a spot for Troy Hill. In my opinion, they probably could have cut one of these fringe wide receivers or something like that and kept Marquan McCall at least up through the final preseason game. And just in case somebody got hurt or something, like he's serviceable. I don't know that he was playing great as nose tackle. But they have said that this 3-4 is not going to be a 3-4 all the time. They're going to mix up a bunch of stuff. There could be situations where Marquan McCall will be perfectly fine to plug in.
Yeah, my thought is this: if the coaching staff didn't feel like he was gonna get a roster spot and wanted to go ahead and move on, I mean, I don't know this defense at all. I mean,
I mean, but has Marquan McCall earned the right to be one of those guys that all right, let's give him a chance to catch on with another team? Like, was there no circumstance where he could have made this roster? That would be my question to Scott Fitterer and Frank Reich.
I'm assuming no. I'm
Yeah.
assuming no with that type of cut that they've already made their decision on their defensive tackle situation, and it
Hey,
may be
might be right.
bringing somebody else in. I mean,
Maybe. I don't know what the roster is right now with Troy Hill coming in, Marquan McCall going out. If they're still at 90 or whatever it needs to be, 93,
yeah,
whatever the number is.
or maybe they felt the simple fact that, if we play him, he has to play as a 4-3 defensive tackle, and we have 4-3 defensive tackles a little bit better than him. Let's let him go, and let's try to find a nose tackle for the 3 team.
I don't know, man. Like he's got the body of a nose tackle. Like he was. It
And it
seemed like that was going to be a really good fit for him.
and it seemed like he flashed occasion like last season, so it was kind of shocking. But you just, in my
Yeah.
opinion, you gotta trust the coaches who see more
Sure,
and know what they
of course.
plan on.
Of course, and I'm not, questioning. Like I'm not upset by the cut or anything. I
Oh
don't really
man,
care. Obviously,
don't get
he
on
wasn't.
Twitter.
I know. Obviously, he wasn't fitting in the plans like you said, but I question the timing. That's the only thing I question is it feels like they could have kept him on the roster for another week and seen if something clicked in that final preseason game.
Who knows? And like I said, I kind of like this as a coaching staff. If you know a guy's not going to make it, and especially a guy who's, I hate saying it, a try hard type of guy that has flash, maybe you cut him at
Try
this
hard.
point so his name goes across the waiver wire before the flux of everybody else. And
So
maybe,
the Chicago Bears can pick him up,
exactly.
right?
I mean,
Yeah. Carolina North Part 2.
yeah.
Yeah. Um, good luck to Marquan McCall. He will
Yeah.
be picked up. I don't know if he'll be claimed as a waiver wire pickup, but he will end up on a roster.
He's too
He's
good, in
got
my
talent.
opinion,
Yeah, he's got
to
talent.
this be the end of his career, in my opinion.
I mean, he was outplaying guys last year on this defense.
Mm-hmm.
He can outplay somebody in the NFL and be on a roster for sure. Yeah, it was surprising when I saw that today. Again, I'm not like upset about it. I'm not shocked and
Stop
awed, but
crying about McCall.
I've gotten over it. My McCall jersey. I don't know what I'm going to do with it now, but good luck, Marquand.
Yeah.
Any other transactions we need to talk about here, Jerry?
Not that I know of.
I
Nothing
think that's
that's
it.
really big. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
not going to harp on small things.
not like. Never mind. So do you want to talk about the preseason week 3?
Bring it on. Bring it on.
Karen playing the Detroit Lions Friday night football. Um, Frank Reich has said that the starters will play. It seems like they'll play right around the same amount they've been playing, based on what he said. He said could be a little less, could be a little more. It's going to be very situational. I think if Bryce Young comes out, scores a touchdown on that first drive, they're yanking him immediately. I
Yeah.
think they should. If he comes out and struggles the first 3 drives, I think he should get a fourth. Like I think that he needs to put something together to boost some confidence, not only in himself, but just the offense overall.
See, I don't know. I feel like maybe offense overall. I feel like I'm confident in Bryce Young so far.
Mm-hmm.
What I've seen, he hasn't gotten rattled by the porous offensive line play. He's making the smart reads. I haven't seen him throw a bad ball at all. Like
Sure.
everything has been miscommunications or, hey, I'm throwing it where my guy could get it, or it's out of bounds. I mean,
Reich did say that there was one one wrong read, I guess, that he had in the last game. I did also notice the first play from last week. I was watching it again today. The bootleg where he rolled
Mhm.
out to the right. He had Thielen kind of in the flat, sort of running with him, wide open. Could have easily completed it, made it, 10, 12 yards. So something, and Thielen was like, doing the international
Waving.
sign of distress from Team America. And Bryce just didn't see him or wasn't confident kind of throwing across his body. It wasn't that far, but it may have been a slightly overthrow. I don't know. But so, yeah, I think there are some things that I think Bryce is going to be good. No
Mhm.
problems. And again, like you said, he hasn't made major mistakes. He hasn't turned the ball over. He hasn't done anything. But I'd like to see him get in the end zone.
I would too. I'm not denying that, but I'm also saying I feel comfortable with what I've seen that he's a quality NFL starter. Now, I expect the rookie mistakes. I expect
Mm-hmm.
the misreads occasionally and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
I also have seen him under duress where previous quarterback Sam Darnold would throw it literally to the wrong team when
Yeah.
anybody comes at him. And so far, I haven't seen that. So I'm fine with that if I want them to get in the end zone anyways, just because this preseason they really haven't done much.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, we do play Detroit in October in real time. So what are we going to really...
Mm, yeah. Would expect this to be even more of a vanilla game plan than we've seen so far. That's weird that we play,
Yeah.
you know, normally we won't play someone in the preseason that we play in the regular season. Or at least it doesn't happen very often.
Mm-mm. And
So
I was...
interesting.
when I saw that, I was like, why? Why would you
Yeah.
allow that?
Yeah. Very interesting. Okay. I guess I knew that and I just didn't remember it or what, but that's kind of, that's news to me. So, all right. Yeah. Obviously, I would be surprised if Burns or Houston, maybe Houston plays. I don't know, but I did see Marquise Haynes is back on the practice field.
I'm expecting to see a lot of him this week.
Yeah, hopefully not so much that he gets hurt again, but I would like to see him out there. He
Over
needs to
under
play.
50 plays before he gets hurt again.
Just in general,
Yeah.
5-0. Yeah, under probably. Just going with the odds. I'm a savvy better. I mean, I hope he doesn't. I like Marquise Haynes, and I've always thought that if he had an opportunity to get starter snaps, that he would be a guy that could produce, but he just can't stay healthy.
No, and that's what we're worried about, J.C. Horn right now. I mean,
Yeah,
except we know J.C. Horn has looked the part of a shutdown corner when healthy.
yeah, yeah. J.C. Horn has looked all pro
Mm-hmm.
talent. I'm not saying Marquise Haynes is that, just that Marquise Haynes could be productive. But yeah, J.C. Horn, another guy that has all the talent in the world and just hasn't been able to put it together a full season yet. So we'll hope to see that this year. Early returns have been good in the preseason. I haven't had any concerns about J.C. Horn. He's
Oh,
looked great.
no. I mean, I don't... Has he even really played any snaps?
He's played a few snaps. Yeah,
Okay, I was going to say,
played a few.
I would be fine if he didn't.
Very, very little. Very little. Which is, yeah, right, like you said, perfectly fine.
Eh, Now, I do have a question. Has he gotten a sponsor by Bubble Wrap, and can I go ahead and, pay
Mm,
money to wrap him in bubble wrap?
I don't think that'd be a good idea for bubble wrap, honestly. I mean, no, he hasn't. All right, what else? What else you looking forward to in this game?
I'm really looking forward to the defense. I want to see the defense kind of put something together that resembles a quality defense that I expect this team to be. I mean, the first game they got slashed all up and down the middle. In this
Hmm.
second game, Daniel Jones carved them up like
Mostly over the
he
middle.
was Tom Brady in his peak.
Yeah, yeah, mostly over the middle. Yeah, Troy Hill going to be somebody that I'm going to be looking at this week, seeing if he can maybe help that, or if scheme wise they've figured out some way to bring the linebackers in, or whatever they need to do to kind of cut off that middle and trust your corners.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like that's one thing where when you have suspect corner play, sometimes you have to maneuver the defense in such a way to help those guys, and that opens up the middle every time.
Yeah.
So would be nice to see if they figured that out. But
A- And
um,
and I do want to put a caveat. I understand the big players on this defense aren't playing. The Brian
mhm,
Burns, the Justin Houston, the Derek Brown, they're not playing. Jeremy Chin played 5 snaps. I mean, I get it. Those guys aren't really the going to be making the big plays right now. But I want to see some of these second stringers make a play. Like a Stanley Thomas Oliver has made plays for the
mhm.
third string. I want to see some of these second player string guys do it.
Yeah. And you make a good point there, and a point that one of our listeners, Elizabeth Strawberry, made, Jerry. She sent
Oh,
us an
oh, we're
email.
we're cutting over. That was
I think this is a good segue. You brought up the point. I want to give Elizabeth her due. She's been a good listener and a great listener, and has been very communicative lately. Basically, she just is not concerned so much about the preseason. She's not concerned after game two, or she says she gets our concern after game two, but Bryce basically said that they're running a very, very vanilla game plan, not doing a lot of things like wide receiver motions or, they had the one rollout. That was it. They're being very selective, very plain in their play calling, which we've said we agree with. Um, and the defense was without their top 4 pass rushers, Burns, Brown, Haynes, and Houston. You don't have your top 4 pass rushers. You're not
that
going to
was
put a lot of, go ahead. The law
that.
firm of,
Yeah, I was gonna say I didn't mean to step on her email. I was just
yeah.
talking off what I know.
Yeah, but to
Sorry,
her point,
Elizabeth.
when you're not getting pressure on the quarterback, that hurts your corners, right?
Yeah,
That opens
absolutely.
up the middle of the field. So she says that she thinks it's the advantage that we're going to see in our coaching staff. That this all-star coaching staff that we have is going to start showing up in the regular season when they've got game plans that they're making, when they're watching film, when they're making adjustments at halftime. So Elizabeth is just preaching, everybody calm down. It's just the preseason. We got to trust our guys. We were all really excited about this coaching staff a month ago. Let's stay excited about that, right? They're going to make the right decisions. And I agree. I think rational, calm, just get ready for the regular season. You're going to see something very different.
I agree with that, but I think the biggest problem with this fan base, with myself, is
Mm-hmm.
that we've had such bad issues with coaching and just things we expect. We think this roster's better than it is, and all of a sudden, regular season happens and it just falls apart. Now, I'm trying to hamper my expectations just because I know Matt Rule was a horrible coach. So
Right.
and
Yeah.
I'm expecting this coaching staff to understand better.
On the whole, Carolina Panthers fans have been blessed with head coaches, honestly.
Yes.
I mean, John Fox was here for 8 or 9 years, was a very, very good head coach. Ron Rivera here for the same amount of time, very good head coach. Blip with Matt Rule, right? And now
Matt,
we've got
yeah.
I've got Frank Reich, who I think is going to be a Fox Rivera type in terms of tenure, and he's going to be a guy that's going to be here for a while, and we're going
And
to
you
have
got to think,
success.
even the first coach was Dom Capers. Dom
Yeah,
Capers, what took them to the NFC Championship game their second year.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, the only other blip was George Shin, and I mean he was such a
Seifert,
super. Or sorry, George Shin.
George Shen, another bad decision for Carolinas, but this isn't a Hornets podcast. But
But
yeah,
see,
Seifert, right?
Seifert, and he actually had some good years if you look back. And I say good years, I mean better than Matt Rule years. But
I
then he
mean,
had
Hall of Fame.
horrible.
He's a Hall of Fame coach,
Yeah,
George
I mean,
Seifert.
so
I
how
mean,
can you really fault the Panthers for going after him?
yeah. Now John Montana made him a Hall of Fame coach, but
Mm-hmm.
you know, he had a lot of success in his career. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we're back with the steady head coach, which has been a Carolina Panthers staple, right? The Fox Rivera, very even keel guys. Don't get too up, don't get too down. Unfortunately, that's the way the records have gone for the Panthers as well, right? Never,
Mm-hmm.
rarely terrible enough to get a top 5 pick, rarely good enough to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm hoping that that was something that Frank Reich can fix. But if not, I mean, we're probably looking at another 7-8 years of mostly better than 500 football.
Yeah, I mean,
And from what we've been through, that's an improvement.
if we get back-to-back winning seasons,
Well,
I mean,
let's not get crazy, Jerry. You're talking the impossible here.
well, you're talking about 7-8 win seasons for 7-8 years. I was like, oh.
No. I'm just averaging out to that because that's what it's been with the best coaches in our tenure. It's been a little better than 500. Has been their coaching records, right?
Yep.
We'll have the good seasons. We'll have the not so good seasons.
Yeah. And Elizabeth, don't fear of emailing us more. We like reading listener feedback.
Everyone email us more. Jerry, what's that email address?
It is mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com.
Check it out.
All right, now we're going to go to some YouTube comments from a Dumb and Dumber MC, and this was about last week's game. I'm satisfied with the game personally. It was hard to get an idea of how the team looks when 99% of the plays were affected by officiating. 100%. Now, he went on...
Preseason for officials, too.
Yeah, they it was a lot. It was a lot of whistles. Yeah. But going back down, here goes. If we do this in regular season, it's going to be ugly. I am slowly beginning to believe that Michael Jordan is the worst guard in the league. And he continues on. I will say that Pat Elflein is not signed right now, I believe, so you are correct.
Would you rather re-sign Pat Elflein than keep Michael Jordan?
No, because at least I've seen something positive out of Michael Jordan previous years.
Would you want to try Marquan McCall at that spot?
Yeah.
Over both of those guys.
Yes, at least that guy's going to block somebody by just the pure mass would not be. Yeah. It's going to take him an extra half second to get around him.
Hey, you do what you got.
Yeah. Let me find another one. I'm going to read this one from Richard. Brady Christensen looked better than Icky, and Mingo looks promising. Brady Christensen, did he even play at left tackle this week?
I think there is a group of Panthers fans who thinks that Brady Christensen should be left tackle and Icky should be left guard. I think that's ridiculous. Brady Christensen, we saw at left tackle. He was better at left tackle than he was at left guard.
Mm-hmm.
Icky's first season was better than what we saw from Brady Christensen at left tackle.
Yeah, and Cam Irving, Brady Christensen was outplaying Cam Irving at left tackle.
Yeah. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing if we could get a good left guard, Brady Christensen just become the left tackle backup. I think I'd be okay with that over Cam Irving.
Oh, 100%. That's my number one need now that we signed a corner is backup tackle depth. Yeah. Which is hard to come by in the NFL.
I'm hoping that we can find a new, somebody to fill that spot because, Brady Christensen's been fine, but I wouldn't say he's an elite or even maybe even an average left guard. He's slightly below average. So, again, I do think that Brady Christensen is better as a left tackle than he is as a left guard, but Icky is the future at left tackle. We don't need to pretend that he's not.
No.
Also, I do like Jonathan Mingo. I think I'm excited about him.
I am too. I hope he kind of gets on the same page. There are some rough edges that he needs to be coached up on. The couple miscommunications with Bryce Young, but I saw in that one reception he had why some people are so much more excited on him than I have been.
Yeah.
Agreed. All right. I think that'll do it unless there's anything else you want to talk about.
No, just offensively on the preseason game, just don't turn the ball over. I'd like to see Blackshear at running back more. I want to see him get maybe 10 rushes this week. And then I want to see more, Mingo, essentially.
Yeah, I want to see the offensive line hold up. I don't want to see bad mistakes. Like that one sack was supposedly a miscommunication between Icky The call was a little bit different than he heard, so
Yeah.
I just don't want to see bad mistakes. I want to see the O-line kind of gel a little bit, open up some holes for these running backs, because
Hmm.
as bad as Chuba has looked, at the same time, the offensive line isn't opening up the holes that he needs.
Yeah. Agreed. Yeah. Offensive line's been bad. Just plain and simple. Have not been good.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely need to see improvement there before the regular season starts. But, it's the last preseason game. This is the worst we're going to see this team. So we see some improvement. I'll be happy.
All right. We want to thank everyone for listening. If you like the show, please let your friends know. Please follow us on Twitter at MeowMix Podcast. If you have any questions or comments, you can email us at mailbag@meowmixpodcast.com. If you leave us a 5-star review with a comment on Apple Podcasts, we'll read it on the show. Please like and subscribe on YouTube and comment on there, because we are now reading comments.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll be back either Friday night or Saturday sometime to talk about this game. And until then, everybody stay safe out there and keep pounding.
I'm going old school today.
Stand and cheer for the Panthers. Stand and cheer for the team.